What's up, guys? It's your girl Kia, and I am back for another video. And today we are talking about, of all the things I never thought I'd be talking about, and that is Taylor Swift. She dropped her new album, Life of a Showgirl, and it has had, I want to say, 2.4 million purchases and downloads in the last 24 hours. So it's a very popular album. Rolling Stones has already given it 5 stars. A lot of people have just been blown away by Taylor Swift, and I was not. Now, I am not a Swiftie, so I'm definitely not her audience, but I kept wondering, like, what is this album about? And for some reason, in my mind, I thought that this album was really going to be more of a darker album, The Life of a Showgirl, because if you know the history of showgirls, and if you saw you might not have seen this movie, but The Last Showgirl with Pamela Anderson, these themes of The Last Showgirl, it's not a happy thing because the showgirls are dying out. If we think about, the last showgirl I can think of is Dita Von Teese, and maybe people aren't thinking that, deeply about it, but when I hear that the album was called, The Life of a Showgirl, I thought it was going to be a little bit darker about her, struggles with Scooter Braun and having to re-record all those albums and how, all these relationships have ended and she's still having to be on for everybody. I just thought it was going to have a more darker tone. To my surprise, it is not about really being a showgirl at all. It's a love letter to her boyfriend, Travis Kelce. So to me, it's like, girl, what? This is not what anybody expected. So I started looking into videos on TikTok and trying to figure out, am I the only one who is thinking like this? Am I just a hater? Am I just, just out of her market? Which could be it. But when I started reading, listening to TikTok videos, I found out something very interesting. Taylor Swift is 35 years old. I'm 40. I am only 5 years older than this woman. Woman, not girl. She's a grown woman. But everybody in the industry and all of her fans, her Swifties, are still looking at her at like this young girl trying to figure it out when she's not. She's a grown woman. She's a grown woman. And I don't know how I didn't realize this woman was grown. And then you think about it. Has Taylor Swift ever done anything as a grown woman? And the answer is no. Anywhere from her relationships to her performances on stage, her fans, instead of her growing with them almost, her fans start to get younger and she starts to treat them younger. I mean, she calls her fans her besties, the charm bracelets, the writing poetry like you're a high school girl, dying for the jock to like you, to her engagement, Travis Kelce, your English teacher married your gym teacher. It's all very, I am stuck in high school. She's still reminiscing about songs about her going to prom. Again, this woman is 35. Let's put a juxtaposition to this. Beyonce was 35 when she made Lemonade. Think about that. That album was probably one of Beyonce's darkest albums. It was definitely critically acclaimed, but it was a darker album and showed kind of her progression as a woman. Now, true enough, Beyonce was going through a very bad time because she had just found out that Jay-Z had cheated on her and she was putting that out on the album. I don't know if Taylor Swift has been in anything that deep or that painful. I am not sure, but if she has, she's never put it in an album. All we hear about when it comes to men is that it just ended. My heart is broken. I'm sad. I wish it would have been forever. Blah, blah, blah. Teen girl, teen girl, teen girl, teen girl. And that's who her music speaks to. The reason why I bring up the Lemonade album is because that album spoke to women in Beyonce's age group. Beyonce and Pink and a lot of other artists have grown with their fans. And the music has evolved and changed and updated and got a new vibe. I mean, I can think of I use Lady Gaga. Her albums have definitely evolved. Her music has evolved. Adele, her music has always kind of been for the grown folks, but it has evolved definitely with the lyrics. All but the one thing that these women have in common is that their has evolved. Taylor Swift's life hasn't really evolved. She's still looking for a boyfriend. She's still trying to be the cute girl that everybody likes. And I kind of feel bad for her because I feel like there's people in her corner who think this is cute and this is good for her popularity and that it works for her. But it makes me wonder, what are you going to be doing, Taylor, when you're 45 and divorced? Because that is going to happen. We all know this. We all know this Travis Kelce thing and her is probably not going to work out. That's fine. That's not a big deal. She probably will end up getting divorced, and it happens. But at 45, are you still going to be looked at as the cute pop girl, or are you going to finally be a woman? Heck, when you turn 40, what are you supposed to be doing? Are you still going to be, looking for love and trying to find friendships and all this kind of stuff. Let's talk about her friendships. Taylor Swift collects friends like she is a high school girl forming this popular clique. She invites them to the football games for her boyfriend, again, like you do in high school. They're photographed together. She's wearing her boyfriend's jersey. She's cheering along. She's doing all these things. She was friends with Patrick Mahomes' wife, Blake Lively. She brought Ice Spice in. She's got all these girls as her girl group. And when she doesn't like them anymore, they do something she doesn't like. She drops them. Again, Blake Lively, she dropped her like radioactive waste. Patrick Mahomes' wife, she did something she didn't like, dropped her. It's all very high school. Now, don't get me wrong. I know there are other celebrity women who have football player husbands. Simone Biles, her husband is a football player. She wears his jersey, but the vibe is very different. She comes down to the field, she hugs and kisses her husband, and then she goes off into wherever she's sitting at, and it's not this whole spectacle of what girls have I brought to the game? What girls have I brought into my circle to come see my boyfriend play as I wave to him from the stands? And that's been going on their entire relationship, you know? And the writing on these albums, it's just always very, I'm the quirky, weird high school girl who still keeps a diary. And I think that's why I've always thought she was a little kid and not a grown woman, But there's a TikToker that I want to bring up on my screen. Sot Fog, very interesting name. Please go follow her. She's very smart. And she came out with a video that I thought, wow, she's exactly right. Sot Fog is very, very right about her analysis of Taylor Swift and Swift's fear of no longer being a white girl, of her wanting to stay a girl and avoiding having to be a woman, all the way down to sex. I remember a couple of years ago when Jesus and Meryl was still a show. If you remember Jesus and Meryl, they had a show on YouTube and on Vice, and then they had a show on where was that, Showtime, before it got canceled because they broke up. Fine. They used to make fun of Taylor Swift not being sexy. And I used to think, oh, maybe they just don't like white girls and like tall girls, whatever. But I think that is part of Taylor Swift's brand, is just to never be sexy. This would be fine if Taylor was 19 to 25 and her not wanting to be too sexualized. Not everybody wants to be Sabrina Carpenter. Not everybody wants to be Christina Aguilera during her dirty phase. Not everybody wants that. But now that she's 35, Taylor Swift has never gone into sexyhood. There was one time she wore a racy black dress and had like Travis Kelce's initials in the stockings or part of the dress, and people were like, "Oh my God, look what she wore! Look at the sexy outfit she had on. I cannot believe she wore that." It was a red dress it wasn't even that sexy. It was just sparkly and tight, which is her aesthetic, sparkly and tight. We have never seen, if we look at her different outfits for the year, I don't think we've ever seen her in a grown woman look. We've never seen her hair slicked back, nice silhouette, a black, a velvet, anything. It's always these kind of sparkly, fun, still look at me as a little girl type of looks. I'm doe-eyed innocent. So let's just quickly watch a little bit of what Sot Fog had to say, and let's see if you agree with me. Let's take a look.
To be a pop star, so her parents decided to take the country route. Keep in mind, this is the 2000s.
Let me start
Pop
over.
music was highly sexual. It was sleazy. Taylor Swift's new album is many things. Unfortunately, good is not one of them. I knew the album wasn't going to be good as soon as the title was revealed, but the promo pics made me curious, so I have listened to the album in full. And now, having listened to it, the album's problem is glaringly obvious. The problem is Taylor Swift is aging out of being a white girl. Before you scroll, let me cook. When Taylor was a teenager, she wanted to be a pop star, so her parents decided to take the
Taylor isn't aging out of being a white girl. She already aged out of being a white girl. Or not even, let's not even say white girl. Let's just take that out of it. Taylor Swift has aged out of being a girl once she turned 30. It was a wrap on that. She is now a woman. She wanted to say a younger woman. She may not, but she's a woman. She's no longer in that teenage years, even though it seems like she's stunted. But let's keep going.
country route. Keep in mind, this is the 2000s. Pop music was highly sexual. It was sleazy. And then you had things like bling rap. It's on a place for a little white girl. Country music, on the other hand, loves a little white girl. And she's blonde. They'll eat her up. So her family moved from Pennsylvania to Tennessee to launch her country career. That's why for the first several years,
This I did not know. I forever has thought that Taylor Swift was from Nashville, Tennessee, but she's from Pennsylvania. So that whole country aesthetic, the accent, the whole thing was all fake the entire time. Which again, I may be living under a rock. I'm also not a Swiftie. I'm also not her demographic, but I did not know that. That was news to me.
Years of her career, she faked a southern accent. She was trying to fit in, seem authentic. Once the pop landscape started to change the late 2000s and early 2010s, that's when she started to transition to making pop music. And now to talk about white girls. White girls don't have sex. They don't know what that is. White girls they're cute, they're adorable, they're like dolls, they're precious, they have to be protected. Do you remember a couple months ago whenever parents would bring their kids to Sabrina Carpenter shows and then act aghast because Sabrina Carpenter, who is a highly sexual artist, was referencing sex on stage? Of course they were, because how could a short, cute little white girl who is also blonde, a blonde, cute little white girl, how could she possibly know what sex is? It's the assumption. Women having sexual freedom and willingly engaging in sex is highly associated with blackness. You can see this most clearly when it comes to things like Disney and Nickelodeon stars. Miley Cyrus, she was Hannah Montana, all-American girl. And what does she do whenever she wanted to shed the Disney image and say, hey, I'm not just a little girl anymore? She releases Can't Be Tamed in bangers. Ariana Grande, another cute little white girl. What does she do whenever she wants to shed the childhood image? She releases Dangerous Woman in Sweetener. They would do things like hang out with rappers.
So she's younger than me, I can tell by these references, but we can go back farther than that. Like I mentioned, does anybody remember when Christina Aguilera put out Dirty? It was after her first album. I forgot what that album was called. What was that album? It might have had woman in the title. I cannot remember. But that's when she released Dirty, and that's when she had Redman in the song. It's the same kind of template. I want to break away from this sweet little pretty girl thing. Let me get more rappers on my album. Let me dress more scantily clad. On that cover of that album, Christina Aguilera was topless with I mean, you can't even call them low-rise jeans. They were basically chaps. Like the waist might have been this big. But that's how she wanted to break free of that. And that album was well received, had a lot of hits on it. And she really belted it out that I am a grown woman with a grown woman voice. The same thing with Britney Spears, but sadly, Britney Spears went the other direction because she had the song that came out that was Slave for You. That was a very highly sexualized song and music video. She was dancing with a snake in the video, for God's sake, or no, on stage. And then after that, the industry kind of turned on her, and then she had her own, personal issues. Um, Pink kind of had the situation, but a little bit different because L.A. Reid wanted her to act more black. And so but it wasn't really wasn't sexualized. But then when Pink wanted to get away from that kind of R&B, sweet girl R&B, I might be white, I might be black. You know what Pink did? Got on a lawnmower with a rock song, drinking a beer while driving a lawnmower. So these are older references to this, but it's the same thing as what Miley did and what Miley and Ariana Grande did.
They would incorporate black music styles into their own music. So that way whenever they'd be sexual, it's like, oh, I'm not just a little white girl anymore. And over time they would drift away from that because that wasn't who they authentically were. They were just using that as a way to escape the chains of being a white girl. Taylor Swift has never had to do that, and why would she? She makes being a white girl so fucking profitable. And the thing about Taylor Swift is that being a white girl is not just profitable for her, it's her entire brand. Because she's just like so awkward. And whenever she dances on stage, she's like bad because she's like awkward. And she loves like cats and baking and like hanging out with her fans. And she would likely continue with this forever, except
And again, if Taylor Swift was 19 or, no, excuse me, 16 to 20 and she was doing this whole, I'm awkward, and again, I don't know how to dance, and being on stage in skimpy outfits is not my thing, and ooh, these heels are too high, and ooh, this is too sexy, and oh, my boyfriend, and this and that, and cats and baking, and oh, my fans are so awesome, we would all be cool with it and think it was cute and adorable, and her parents are raising her the right way. But this woman is over 30. So it's no longer cute. It's just weird and trying to figure and like she's saying, why are you doing this? It's more the aesthetic of being a white girl because that's what appeals to your fans and your fans' parents because you don't want to end up in the Sabrina Carpenter situation where you're on stage doing something sexual and now everybody's mad at you. I think Taylor really just wants to be liked instead of just being who she is. This is a woman where we have no idea who she is, and I know what you're gonna say, but you're just a fan. Like why would she express who she is? But we have no idea what her personality is. We only know these little weird things that are just awkward. There's a lot of celebrities where you can see what their personality is. You may not know them, but you can see their personality a little bit shine through. And with this, it just all seems like days of girlhood. I don't like Dylan Mulvaney or anything. I'm just saying, like, it just seems like I'm just a girl forever. I'm sorry. Let's just keep going.
For one small problem. Taylor Swift is 35 years old, and it's not like she's showing signs of aging or anything, but the brand of being a white girl is very much being a white girl. What happens in a few years whenever she's 40? What happens whenever she starts to get wrinkles? Once you're middle aged, it's not cute anymore to be awkward. So she's aging out of being a white girl, but she doesn't have a brand or really even a sense of self outside of being a white girl. Also, low
Exactly.
key, this is the entire key to her relationship with Travis Kelce, which is not going to go well, but that's a story for another day. And keep in mind, the world has been moving on. An artist like Sabrina Carpenter could not exist 10 years ago. There was nowhere in the pop landscape for her. For like a cute little white girl who's that sexual. It didn't exist. And then on top of that, things have been rapidly changing politically. So people want different things from women now. And the life of a showgirl is a testament to Taylor's inability to rise to the occasion. Like on the song Wish List. Oh, everybody wants bright lights and designer things, and they want like a fat ass. But me, then we get to the chorus, but me, I just want to have all of your kids. I want to have all of your.
So I'm just going to read the lyrics on the screen. I just want to have a couple kids, got the whole block looking like you. Will tell the world to leave us the F alone. And they do. Wow, got me dreaming about a driveway with the basketball hoop. Boss up, settle down, and got a wish list. I just want you. Taylor, you're Taylor Swift. You're never going to have a basketball hoop in your driveway. This weird little suburban life that I live is a life that she wants, which is odd. It's just not going to happen. It's just not realistic. But it also shows that she kind of, you know, doesn't have a realistic view of who she is. Or maybe she just doesn't know who I'm sorry for the screaming in the background. My children are out there. But it just doesn't, it's just not realistic. And I'm back. It just shows that she just doesn't have a real realistic point about life. That's number one. And number two, this is not the type of song that I thought was going to be on Life of a Showgirl, talking about that she wants to get married and have kids. That's not what showgirls who have gone through the life that you've gone through, Taylor. You have gone through some stressful things. You always have to be on. Why aren't we singing about that? Although your fans are really great and they love you, but they expect a lot from you. Some of them stalk you. Some of them try to duplicate you. How men in the industry have taken advantage of you business wise, but you are still expected to smile and nod. Why aren't you talking about the fact that you are still stuck in this white girl, I have to be this 24/7 mindset? Why aren't we talking about that? Why are we talking about your desire to be married with kids, which is not like some epiphany? I mean, a lot of women want to get married and have kids. I wanted to get married and have kids. I got married and I had kids. Who the hell cares? Like, congrats, you're a regular person. Let's keep going.
Kids, and then I want to live in a house, and I want the driveway to have a basketball hoop in it for our kids. And Taylor's personal struggle between her being her own woman and her being a cute little white girl is really embodied by the song Wood. It's called Wood because it's in reference to Travis Kelce's his
Penis.
that it's that. But the song isn't sexual at all because the song isn't about sex. It's about a woman justifying the fact that she has sex. The song starts with her picking petals off of a daisy. Oh, he loves me not. Taylor portrays herself as being super insecure until Travis Kelce digmatizes her and opens up her eyes. And keep in mind, white girls cannot be sexual beings. It's not that she has sexual feelings, it's that a man came along and unlocked it in her. The curse was lifted. You see, you guys, it's not about sex at all. It's about love. His love was.
So this part is kind of a given when it comes to Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift has not had an identity outside of having a man the entire time she's been famous. This is a woman who has had more boyfriends than I can think of a celebrity partner. I mean, she's almost at Leonardo DiCaprio level, I think. I mean, every year, every 2 years, she's got a boyfriend. They're breaking up, and it's always somebody ultra famous or from a really well-to-do family. I think she was dating a Kennedy at one point. Tom, what is Tom's name? The guy who played Loki, she was dating him. Tom Hiddleston, she dated him. She dated Travis Kelce. She dated Taylor Lautner. She's dated all of these men. And if you notice, all of these men date her And right after they date her, they end up getting married to another person who's the complete opposite of her. I don't know if anybody else notices, but all of her exes outside of John Mayer, I think, are married. So yeah, her identity is only in having a man, being somebody's girlfriend, and having this like it's weird. It's almost like she's looking for a father figure or some kind of like adult male to tell her what to do or how to think or where to be. In this situation with Travis Kelce, it's also interesting him dating Taylor because before Taylor, he was dating black women and he had a completely different aesthetic. Now he's gotten with Taylor and he's changed his aesthetic into this more country guy, beer swigging, stand in front of the grill, long socks wearing, mow your grass, jean shorts, soccer dad, weird vibe, weird porn stash thing that I don't know who finds that attractive, but she does. It's a complete juxtaposition from Travis Kelce before her, which makes me wonder if he really does want to be with her, even with him proposing to her, or if he just doesn't want to hurt her and embarrass her on a grand scale. Because at this point, if they broke up or if he broke up with her, it would embarrass her and hurt her immensely. And though I don't think he wants to be with her, I also don't think he wants to intentionally hurt her or embarrass her. But that could just be me. Sot Fog, what she's saying on here is that, Taylor Swift is only saying that she's sexual because Tyler, because Travis Kelce loved her so much it made her want to be sexual. And this lyric is kind of wanting to make everybody believe I've never had sex before. I never even thought about sex till it came to came to Travis Kelce. Which are we really supposed to be? All those men she dated, she was never having sex with. Is this what this lyric's supposed to make us believe? Nobody believes that. No one believes that. I honestly, and this is going to be a messed up thing to say, Taylor Swift seems like the kind of girl that if she couldn't keep a man and do all the cutesy things she thought were cute that you hear see about in rom-com to keep a man, then the next step up would be try to sleep with him to get him to stay. And it's messed up to say that there's a lot of girls who are like that. I used to be like that in my early 20s, but again, she's not in her early 20s. She's over 30. Let's finish this up.
The key that opened my thighs. I don't have sexual feelings. I'm just a little white girl. Because this album is supposed to be her embodying her sexual energy, thus, life of a showgirl. But Taylor either feels unable or isn't willing or whatever it is you want it to be. Taylor doesn't actually embody it. She doesn't explore it because the embodiment of her sexual energy would come at the expense of the brand of Taylor Swift. It's seemingly not compatible, or at least she thinks or her team thinks that it's not compatible. So she has to be her own fully embodied grown woman in order to keep up with the times, but she also has to be like a cute little white girl in order to keep up with the brand of Taylor Swift. And in trying to do both, she successfully does nothing. I would be really curious to know if the album was even her idea, especially since so many of the songs sound like rejected tracks off of some of her old albums. Also, how are you gonna have an album called Life of a Showgirl and yet not a single fucking song on the album has a brass section? Showgirl music is big band. It's blaring horn.
If you're trying to think of showgirl music, think of songs like Hey Big Spender. That is a showgirl song. Big brass, big horns. Hey big spender, spend a little time. That's a showgirl song. And apparently there's none of that on this album. So I heard from somebody else and doing a little research, big band music gets related a lot to blackness because a lot of those horn sections were black people back in the day. If you want to look it up back in the 30s and 20s when these bands were coming out. So she really tries to keep herself away from blackness as much as possible, which is weird to do an album called Life of a Showgirl if you're not going to embrace none of this is showgirlness. None of this album is showgirlness outside of the fact that she wanted to put on a showgirl outfit, it seems like on the cover. None of this is the real tragedy and triumph I thought this was going to be. It just seems like she just thought it would be a really, really cool name because she's always performing and this will be fun to talk about. But yeah, it's just not showgirl-ish.
Horns. It's a hell of a lot of fun. And it just did not exist on this album. Not to mention, none of the songs actually have anything to do with being a showgirl. And really not even the song The Life of a Showgirl. Like, she could have just used the word follies once, and I would have been satisfied. But discussing why the music isn't good sonically is not really the purpose of this video. If you have any questions or you disagree with me, please let me know. I love thinking.
So yeah, I'm just gonna end it there. And listen, I'll end with this. Taylor Swift is Peter Pan. Taylor Swift is Peter Pan, the woman who never wanted to grow up. She wants to stay a girl forever because girls aren't innocent. Girls can always make excuses for their bad behavior, poor decisions, like her decisions with men over and over and over and over again. People always write it off as, oh, she's just a young girl. She's just trying to figure it out. But again, if she was 16 to 20, maybe 25, we would all go for that. But she's 35 years old. And again, I know she's been with Travis Kelce for the past 2 years, so that's not doesn't count right now because she is in a relationship. But she's been in a lot of relationship that lasted a year, 2 years, 3 years, and always ended, and people never looked at her as the issue. It must be the guy that's the issue. She never does anything wrong. And she wants to stay in Never Never Land forever with all of her, lost boys, lost girls, your Blake Lively, who isn't the best person in the world, Patrick Mahomes' wife, not the best person in the world, Ice Spice, I don't even know if she has an album coming out, but all of these girls who just want to follow her and be loyal to her and be in her space and her shine and just be these girls forever. And I feel bad for Taylor Swift because eventually she is going to have to wake up. She is going to have to grow up and she can't be, Peter Pan anymore. And I don't think she's ready for that slap in the face that it's going to be when she can't be a young, like this video said, a young white girl or be Peter Pan anymore. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Shout out to Sotfog. I'm tagging her, TikTok in the description because I definitely wanted to give her full credit for putting this video together. Listen, drop them in my comments. Let me know your thoughts. If you are a Swiftie, feel free to drop in my comments and educate me on anything that you feel differently. And if you're not a Swiftie and you're just like one of the black people are just like, ooh, white people tea. This sounds fun. Then go ahead and drop that in my comments. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video because my little one is about to bust in here like Rambo and ask me a question. So drop them in the comments and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.